And this is pretty much the full context of Stephanie White talking about this historic season that the Indiana Fever had. Now, we know they dealt with a bunch of injuries. More than half the team got hurt. She did a lot of experimental stuff, especially on offense, running different sets, putting players in places that they normally wouldn't be. Ultimately, it did work. It did work. It got them damn near to the WNBA championship. But something she talked about that, kind of stuck out to me was that teams that, that...
Recent attention has shifted to Stephanie White after her season-ending appearance on the Query and Company radio show. While clips of her calling Caitlin Clark a pawn went viral, the full interview offered much more depth. During the extended conversation on Indianapolis 107.5 The Fan, White reflected on the Indiana Fever's remarkable season, marked by relentless adversity. Over half the roster battled injuries, yet White continuously adapted, experimenting with offensive systems, rotating players into new positions, and testing innovative strategies. Her willingness to adjust and take risks ultimately transformed the Fever from a struggling team into legitimate championship contenders, earning league-wide respect and renewed fan enthusiasm.
Kind of stuck out to me was that teams that, that is close-knit together, they kind of play well. They kind of play well together, and it shows on the basketball court. Now, this is, a long little segment, but, I feel like we need to hear it and hear Stephanie White contest because this was right after that game that they lost ultimately to the Las Vegas Aces, which they could have won that game in that series. But let's check out this audio here, man, from this interview. Shout out to 107.5 The Fan. I believe this is...
During the interview, White stressed that teams built on strong relationships often perform at a higher level, with that chemistry clearly visible in competition. The conversation took place shortly after the Fever's narrow loss to the Las Vegas Aces, a game they arguably could have won. Reflecting on that moment, White highlighted how teams lacking certain advantages can still succeed through connection, resilience, and shared determination. She also addressed the tense incident involving Kelsey Mitchell's sudden collapse, captured on a live microphone during a timeout. While it first seemed like routine cramping, medical staff quickly discovered it was a more serious muscular deficiency that caused brief paralysis episodes lasting between 5 and 7 seconds, requiring continued monitoring.
Fan, I believe this is an Indianapolis radio station. Let's give it a listen, man.
You may not, have all of the things that other teams or other people do. It takes the intangibles, and it takes the connectedness, and it takes something different inside of you. And I think that's what this group has had.
There was a clip that was shown on television where they had you mic'd up, and during a time, it was after Kelsey Mitchell had gone down, and we now know that injury, and I want to give...
White recalled sensing her players beginning to panic, but she quickly reminded them of how well they had handled adversity all season. She knew this moment could have broken their confidence, yet she focused on reinforcing their identity and inner drive beyond the pursuit of victory. The interviewer noted that the game reflected their entire year, a constant fight to respond whenever they fell behind. White credited that resilience to the team's extraordinary unity, emphasizing her belief that connected teams ultimately win. No matter when new members arrived, they were welcomed, supported, and shown how to represent the program's values both on and off the court.
That injury, and I want to give full kudos and credit to the medical staff that was there, because we thought it was just, she has a leg cramp. And we now know that that's something that could have been more severe and will be monitored moving forward. But thankfully, they were just so fast to act on that. And that deserves a tip of the cap. But you've got to then kind of rally your team together, and you're saying to them, no one is more prepared for, and I'm paraphrasing, no one is better built to be able to respond to this than we are. Nobody can handle this like we can.
4 or 5 players joined the roster after the season began. Yet the team's philosophy from day one emphasized collective success over personal glory. Though highly talented, everyone accepted that not all would get the minutes they deserved. Newcomers who missed the April build-up quickly adapted, learning the culture from teammates who modeled accountability and selflessness. That willingness to sacrifice for one another elevated the group's performance. In sports, success often depends on peaking at the right time, and this team achieved exactly that.
This like we can. When you were saying that, Coach, could you see in their eyes that they believed what you were saying?
I think I saw fear to start, and that's why I said it, because we had so many of those moments, and at the time we obviously didn't know what was going on with Kelsey. We thought it was cramping as well, and so the severity of what was happening wasn't there. But anytime you see a teammate go down.
By that stage, the Fever had finally settled into their most stable lineup, a group that had spent the most time training together, allowing genuine chemistry and connection to form. Earlier in the season, constant roster changes made that impossible. Reflecting on coaching a transcendent talent like Caitlin Clark, White admitted it brought unique challenges. A superstar of her magnitude draws new fans loyal to her personally, not necessarily to the league, creating intense scrutiny where every coaching choice is questioned. Early criticism eventually faded, and by season's end, many viewed White's leadership as award-worthy.
Teammate go down, it's hard, and we've had many of those moments, unfortunately, throughout the course of the year, and we've had to rally around them and rally for them and rally one another. And so, in that moment, it was just, I sensed that it could have been a breaking point for our team. But reminding them what we've been through, reminding them that we could find another gear, find another level, that we could find.
White brushed off any notion of vindication, recalling advice she received early in her career, to tune out public opinion if she wanted lasting success. Her coaching philosophy centers on serving her players and the team, guided by passion and loyalty to the franchise. She understood universal approval was impossible, but valued Indiana fans for appreciating basketball's nuances. Championships, she noted, never come easily. Even elite programs make winning look simpler than it is. With 26 years in the league and memories of the franchise's early years, White felt deep pride in the culture they built, the team's resilience, and her staff's creativity in helping players thrive.
That we could find something inside of us that was playing for something more than just to win a basketball game, because we had done it multiple times, and quite frankly, just reminding them who they are in that moment, and whether it was going to go our way or not, we still needed to find something to play for.
And by the way, that injury, for those that are unfamiliar, and it's a medical term that I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but essentially what happened was she had a muscle deficiency where her muscles...
Reflecting on how the league has evolved since her playing days, White noted that growth naturally brings greater scrutiny, especially on the business side. With collective bargaining talks looming and Commissioner Kathy Angelbert facing backlash over remarks involving Nafisa Collier and Caitlin Clark, White shared her perspective. She voiced frustration for Clark, calling her a young competitor who loves the game but has been turned into a pawn in others' agendas and narratives. While unfortunate, White acknowledged such tensions are part of the league's transition into mainstream professional sports. Having helped craft the first collective bargaining agreement focused on basic insurance, she now believes players deserve stronger pay and leadership that understands today's realities.
Actually, what happened was she had a muscle deficiency where her muscles for a 5 to 7 second period essentially paralyzed on her, and she could not move her muscles, and that is something that will be monitored moving forward. We certainly hope the best for Kelsey Mitchell. In terms of the way that in that game, I just thought it was a microcosm of your season, because every single time, and I'm not going to lie to you, Stephanie White, the Fever coach, is our guest here. With sport, Coach, and I think you know this,
She pointed to coaches like Becky Hammon and Noelle Quinn in Seattle as examples of the league's evolving landscape. The game itself turned into an absolute thriller from start to finish, a fierce, emotional battle that basketball fans will remember for years. Phoenix showed remarkable determination throughout, refusing to back down at any point. DeWanna Bonner's performance stood out above all, earning praise regardless of opinions about her playing style. Her impact was undeniable, and she may well have been the most influential player on the court that night.
The Aces were up by 17 points going into the fourth. Yes, they were up 17 points going into the fourth and nearly blew it. They went down 7-2 and then went on an 18-0 run in the first quarter, which is mad. Jewel Lloyd had 12 first quarter points. She ended on 16. Did not make a field goal after the first quarter. Nalissa Smith did not realize she was plus 16. I thought she was poor. What was Meg? Plus 0.
Las Vegas entered the final quarter with a commanding 17-point lead, but nearly let it slip away in stunning fashion. They had opened the game with an incredible 18-0 scoring run, setting the tone early. Jewel Lloyd exploded for 12 points in the first quarter and finished with 16 overall, though she failed to score from the field after that hot start. Despite an uneven performance, Smith posted a surprising plus 16 rating, while Gustafson struggled, ending the game with a -5.
She was surely minus, was she? She was -5. Kirsten Bell, I did not think was good in that game. Showing why, she was getting DMPs. I did not think Kirsten Bell was up to much in that game. I thought Dana Evans was unlucky with quite a few of those fouls. I do think a couple of them were harsh on her. I think a couple of them were harsh, especially...
Bell struggled throughout the game, reinforcing earlier doubts about her defensive consistency. Evans, meanwhile, appeared to be on the wrong end of several questionable foul calls, including one particularly dubious moment when she held her position and Bonner initiated contact with a leg movement, yet the whistle still went against her. Gray delivered a key and one play in the fourth quarter, though her overall performance was unspectacular. Young, however, stood out with a steady effort, recording 21 points and 9 rebounds.
I think a couple of them were harsh, especially the one where she just kind of stood there and Dwana Bonner kicked her. That was a harsh one. Chelsea Gray came up with a big and one in the fourth. Didn't have the greatest game in the world today. Jackie Young, 21 and 9, was good enough. Aja, I think Aja had a really good game through unbelievable game through 3 quarters, and then had a really bad fourth quarter. And did this.
Wilson was outstanding through the first 3 quarters before faltering in the fourth, yet she still managed to produce a moment of brilliance. With the game on the line, she caught the ball on the perimeter, drove hard to the rim, and rose over 2 defenders for a fading jumper that bounced several times before finally falling. Though her baseline positioning wasn't ideal and her final quarter was rough, Las Vegas still found a way to prevail. Wilson struggled late but delivered when it mattered most. Credit also goes to Hammond for calling a perfectly timed timeout. Many coaches might have simply let Young take the close-range attempt.
And she did this. She has it on the wing, takes it inside, fades over 2 players, bounce in. Bad endline play. I mean, even if the greats have a bad fourth quarter, they can go and pull that out.
Young had just missed an awkward off-balance Eurostep attempt, moving left to right while shooting with her right hand, creating a tough angle. Many expected Hammond to let the next play unfold naturally, but her decision to intervene showed exactly why she's so highly regarded and well compensated as a professional coach. On the Phoenix side, Sabali appeared seriously shaken after a collision, looking dazed and unsteady as teammates helped her off the floor.
I hope she doesn't play the rest of the series because she's hurt. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Satu's hurt. That, it looked like she was not with it. I really hope. You're 3-0 down. You're not winning. You're not winning the title. You're not winning the title. People are making a joke, being I'm not going to show the full footage, but people are making this type of joke, and it's it is actually not that far off.
This game looked destined for an epic collapse, as Las Vegas nearly blew a 17-point lead, a meltdown that would have been unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. But Wilson refused to let that story unfold. Overall, the basketball on display was outstanding.